4.7 million ounces of silver vanished from the New York vaults in a single day. This is not a drill. While you were sleeping on February 11th, COMEX inventory fell off a cliff. Total registered silver is now 98.1 million ounces. That is below the 100 million ounce danger zone every major trader watches. The vaults are bleeding dry, the walls are closing in. The paper market is screaming. Most people think this is just volatility. But that's the lie. Therefore, you need to see what they quietly passed in Washington at the same time. Section 47, the new emergency bill, the legal kill switch for your gold and silver. In a few minutes, I'll show you the one loophole they accidentally left open. If you own silver and you miss that part, you could lose half your stack on paper and never get it back. Stay with me, because every piece of this fits together. The empty vaults, Shanghai's shutdown, the fake prices, and Section 47. Section 47 of the new emergency bill is not theory. It's not a rumor. It is written law text, signed while the world stared somewhere else. While people watched the Lunar New Year fireworks, Congress slid it through. This law gives the Federal Reserve power to freeze and reallocate any asset labeled a strategic reserve during a banking failure. Read that again. If they label something strategic, your private property becomes a government resource. Therefore, the legal wall between your safe and the Fed has just been demolished. You probably still think they would never use that on normal citizens. But the same system that just let 4.7 million ounces walk out of New York in one day is not built to protect you. It is built to protect itself. In a moment, I'll show you the exact wording trick inside Section 47 that flips your stack from personal savings to national resource. Right now, the Shanghai Gold Exchange is closed for the Lunar New Year. From February 14th to February 23rd, there's no physical trading there. No Chinese buyers on the floor, no real bids in that market. To most people, that just sounds like a quiet holiday. A pause. However, thin liquidity is not calm. It is the perfect time for a heist. With Shanghai offline, the Western paper traders in New York and London can slam the price with almost zero resistance. No big Eastern buyers to step in and say, we'll take that silver at this level. Therefore, the current $74 price is a ghost price. It is not a real market. It is a number printed in a vacuum. They are not just moving price. They are removing evidence of stress. You might think, so what? Cheap silver is good. I can buy more. That's what they want you to think. But wait until you see the secret reopening order that lets the Fed use these fake, smashed prices as the fair value for confiscation. Here's how the Holiday Heist works. Step 1. Shanghai closes for the Lunar New Year. Physical demand from the East goes dark for 10 days. Step 2. COMEX and the Western paper markets use that window to hammer futures. They dump contracts into thin air. Price falls with no one there to catch it. Step 3. Section 47 sits in the background, waiting. Buried in the rules is a simple trick. The official compensation price for any seized metal can be based on recent market prints. If the last official price on February 20th is $74, they can claim that is fair market value. Therefore, if they hit the confiscate button after smashing price in a thin market, they don't just take your metal. They take it at a discount. The ghost price becomes the legal price. So they aren't only crashing silver to win trades. They are crashing it to lower the cost of taking your metal. Later in this video, I'll tell you the exact type of account that is at the highest risk of being repriced this way. It's not what most people think. Now we get to the part almost nobody is talking about, the digital credit requisition. Section 47 has a small exemption clause buried around page 114. Most people scroll past it. They shouldn't. People believe if they own a physical coin, they're safe from the digital system. They think, if it's in my safe, the government can't touch it. However, Section 47 changes the rules around reporting. It allows for mandatory reporting of all precious metals held in third-party vaults, bank safety deposit boxes, custody programs, and allocated accounts. If you don't hold it in your own hand, this law treats it as part of the digital system. You might say, but the bank said my metal is fully allocated to me. Under Section 47, that doesn't matter. What matters is where it sits. Therefore, if your gold and silver are in someone else's vault, you are on a list. And that list is exactly what they'll use when they issue a requisition order. Here's the twist that should make your blood run cold. They don't have to pay you in real dollars at a true market price. The secret requisition order allows the Fed to pay you in digital credits instead of cash. Credits inside the new CBDC system. If they take your silver at a ghost price of $74, but the true free market value should be $150, you lose more than half your wealth in a single command. You get a digital token. They get the metal. Therefore, emergency value is not set by buyers and sellers. It is set by the same people who need your metal to survive. And here's the second cut. Once you are compensated with those credits, there will likely be limits on what you can buy with them. You will not be able to use those digital credits to go right back and buy more gold or silver. The system can easily block those transactions under stability rules. You have been liquidated out of hard assets. You are now locked inside a pure digital cage. In a minute, I'll show you how this echoes 1933 and the one key change that makes 2026 even worse. Most investors still believe they will get a fair price. They think, we're not in the 1930s. The system is more fair now. There are laws. That belief is the most dangerous asset they hold, because the reality is simple. Your wealth is now classified as a strategic resource. You were told that the 1933 gold confiscation could never happen again. You were told modern protections made that impossible. But Section 47 was written to bypass those old protections. It relabels your gold and silver as essential commodities, the same basket as fuel or food in wartime. Therefore, the Fed can now seize your metal with the same authority they used to seize oil or grain. In 1933, they let people keep a bit of gold for professional use. Jewelers, dentists, certain trades. Section 47 has no such mercy for personal use of essential commodities. If the government decides the solar industry or the defense grid needs your silver for the public good, they can order every ounce into the pipeline. Therefore, the "I only have a small stack for myself" argument dies in 2026. Size doesn't save you if classification changes. Pattern interrupt. They told you to buy metals for safety. Now they are rewriting the law so your safety becomes their reserve. Now we hit the strange part. The 1964 loophole expansion. This is the part you are not supposed to see. Even some metals dealers don't talk about it because it doesn't help their main lines. A little later, I'll tell you why junk silver may be the only legal shield you have left. First, you need to understand how this loophole was born. Headlines say, everything is vulnerable. Nothing is safe. They want you hopeless, frozen. However, the fine print in Section 47 creates a crack. Numismatic and historic currency can be treated differently from investment bullion. Most people today are buying 2026 bullion bars and rounds. Nice, shiny, easy to stack. But reality, those bars and rounds are first in line for seizure. Why is 1964 the magic line? Because U.S. silver coins minted before 1964 were produced as legal tender currency, not as investment bullion. They are still officially United States currency, even if they no longer spend at face value. Therefore, seizing those coins as commodities requires a different legal path than seizing bars. Section 47 is built to target commodities, not currency. While they can easily say a silver bar is a strategic metal, it is much harder to claim that bags of old U.S. dimes and quarters are just generic inventory. Therefore, your junk silver stack, the coins everyone mocked as small time, might be the only form of silver with a legal shield left. Is it perfect protection? No. Could they still try to expand authority later? Yes. But right now, the bill's own wording separates historic currency from raw metal. In a few minutes, I'll give you a simple way to think about your stack. What is visible bullion? What is historic currency? And what is trapped in the digital net? Here's the final warning most people will ignore. Most people will wait. They will wait until they see soldiers at a bank. They will wait until a talking head on TV says, "Confiscation is now active." By then, the exit doors will be welded shut. Section 47 is not a rumor. It is not a suggestion. It is a directive waiting for a trigger. Therefore, the wait-and-see approach is a suicide mission for your wealth. You cannot wait for the fire to touch your front door before you buy insurance. The dollar is dying. The national debt is racing toward $40 trillion. However, the government thinks it can ride this out if it controls enough physical silver and gold. They need a hard asset anchor for their coming digital dollar so it doesn't spin out of control. They do not want you to hold that anchor. They want it in their vaults. The reality is harsh. Your silver stack is one of the few things standing between them and complete digital control. Section 47 is their legal kill switch. The sudden COMEX drain and fake ghost prices are the market signals. Shanghai's closure is the cover. Therefore, the time for paper promises is over. You must decide. Do you want to be a creditor to a bankrupt system? or the custodian of your own family's wealth. So what do you do now? First, map your exposure. How much of your metal is in third-party vaults? How much is in bank boxes? How much is pure bullion, easy to label as commodity? How much is historic U.S. currency, pre-1964 junk silver, classic coins? Second, understand your risk tiers. Highest risk, allocated or pooled metal in big Western vaults tied to banks. Medium risk, modern bullion at home that matches dealer records exactly. Lower but not zero risk, historic currency where the law is less clear. Third, watch the triggers. A failed treasury auction, a major bank collapse, a sudden spike in yields, a temporary emergency measure speech about stabilizing the currency. Those are the moments when Section 47 can jump from paper to practice. Fourth, adjust before that day. Reduce exposure to third-party storage where you can. Convert some sterile bullion into forms that fit the historic currency window. Keep some metal in forms that are harder to track through normal reporting. Fifth, do not brag. The more you talk, the more obvious you look. Quiet wealth survives better than loud wealth in any crisis. This is RateScope. I built this channel to show you the truth they hide in the fine print. We just walked through the drain at COMEX, the Shanghai holiday trap, the ghost price, the digital credit requisition, and the 1964 loophole most people still don't see. Section 47 is the clearest proof yet that the paper market is dying. It is the final Hail Mary of a system that knows it cannot pay its bills honestly. Like this video if you refuse to let them seize your future without a fight. Subscribe to RateScope if you want to see the full loophole breakdown before the Shanghai market reopens on February 24th. Hit the bell so you do not miss that update. The law is passed, the trap is set. You still have a window, use it.